en termes d'infrastructures de conservation de ce matériel, en termes de ressources humaines capables de gérer convenablement ce patrimoine génétique. Nous avons déjà, avec l'appui de Technoserve, identifié des arbres élites performants d'Anacadier dont nous allons utiliser les potentiels pour dupliquer et avoir beaucoup d'autres matériels. Nous avons aussi avec Technoserve le contact avec des pays comme la Tanzanie et le Mozambique qui ont de l'expérience en matière de production de cajou. Et donc, on pourrait bien les rattraper.
L'importance de l'installation de ce verger est d'augmenter la quantité de matériel végétal de qualité pour permettre aux producteurs d'avoir un rendement plus élevé à l'hectare.
Nous avons aujourd'hui 3 conseillers d'entreprise qui encadrent la cinquantaine de pépiniéristes dûment identifiés, sélectionnés avec l'appui du gouvernement pour que cette production repose sur des techniques managériales, entrepreneuriales qui permettent à ces pépiniéristes de jouer un rôle prépondérant dans l'atteinte de l'objectif de l'augmentation de la production de notre cajou.
Africa. A continent thriving with opportunities. 70% of the world's cocoa, 53% of the world's cashew. The resource-rich continent is at a turning point. By 2030, Africa will be pioneer in Africa and second in the world. In fact, the real impact was much wider and more meaningful. With GCES, Arise IIP has created 16,000 jobs, attracted 120 investors coming from 18 different countries, operating in 19 industry sectors. In Togo, Benin and Côte d'Ivoire, our work is underway following the same approach. Cotton, cashew, soya, cocoa. We enable the transformation of local agricultural products with modern infrastructures and integrated logistics services. By investing in local manufacturing, we ultimately seek to replace foreign imports with domestic production. In all our endeavors, we are driven by the pursuit of green.
La cité de nos accomplissements présente surtout au niveau du maillon transformation. C'est pourquoi nous leur avons demandé de ne pas venir seulement pour écouter les discours, mais qu'elles viennent avec leur chef-d'œuvre pour qu'on puisse voir ce qu'elles font et les gens vont aussi profiter pour se ravitailler.
En effet, dans sa stratégie de renforcement des capacités des acteurs de la filière cajou, TechnoServe, à travers Bénin Cajou, fournit des assistances techniques spécifiques et appropriées à la satisfaction des besoins des partenaires du public afin de promouvoir
Okay. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a special conference spin-off. You asked for clarification, we heard, and we bring to you this special segment. Please note that the session is being held in both languages, and to access interpretation services, kindly click on the globe icon on your screen, select a preferred language, and mute the original sound. We want to appreciate our sponsors and partners who have made it possible for us to bring this session to you. And I'm talking about the USDA projects, Benin Cashew and Prosper Cashew. To moderate this session, we have with us Dr. Joseph Tokore, Joseph of the USDA West Africa Regional Project Pro Cashew, and has nearly 10 years of experience in the capacity building of producers on good practices in the cashew production and marketing. He has also contributed to the development of organic cashew value chains and fair trade. He is the author of several scientific works, including 10 on cashew production practices from the nursery to the field. Join me, welcome our moderator, Dr. Joseph Tokore. Joseph, you online? I see you online. Can you hear me? Hello, Joseph, can you hear me?
Oui, bonjour, monsieur, je vous reçois.
Okay, good morning. Please, you may go ahead. And please, like I mentioned, the session is being held in English and French. There's simultaneous interpretation ongoing. Thank you. Hello, Joseph?
Yes, hello, Blessing.
You have the floor now. Thank you.
Oui, bonjour, Blessing, bonjour, chers participants. J'espère que le prof Massaoui est déjà avec nous. Donc, il est déjà là. Nous aurons quelques heures, sinon 1 heure de séance que nous allons faire ici sur la connaissance approfondie de la gestion des arbres dans le quartier. Déjà, nous allons suivre pour ce que nous aurons au programme, nous allons suivre une communication du prof sur cette question de la gestion des arbres dans le quartier. Et après ça, nous allons essayer de...
Turn on your video. We can't see you. I don't know if you've turned it on, but we can't see you. Could you please turn on your video?
OK. Merci alors. Donc, nous allons continuer comme Blessing l'a dit. Et une fois encore, je tiens à présenter à tous les participants, à dire soyez les bienvenus à tous les participants. Et donc, poursuivre avec cette section que nous allons démarrer avec le professeur Massaoui. Alors, je ne sais pas, le professeur Massaoui, vous êtes là? Est-ce que le professeur Massaoui nous reçoit?
Good morning, Joseph. How are you?
Yeah, I'm going well. Ça va. Voilà, prof, si vous êtes prêt, donc je vais vous laisser la parole afin de faire passer votre communication. Et après ça, après cette étape, nous allons passer aux questions. Mais je ne sais pas déjà si Blessing va essayer de produire le prof. Sinon, je veux dire que le prof Massaoui est un professeur qui a beaucoup travaillé sur les questions de d'hybridation, je veux dire d'amélioration de la sélection des arbres d'un acadier. Il a fait plus de 66 œuvres dans ce sens, dans la production, dans l'amélioration variétale au niveau de cajou. Il a également travaillé dans plusieurs sessions dans ce domaine et actuellement est le directeur de production sinon est en train de travailler avec Technoserve Bénin Cajou actuellement au Bénin. Donc nous allons lui permettre de partager avec nous ses expériences en matière de gestion des plantations d'anacards, d'essayer de nous expliquer un peu, de nous ressortir les quelques aspects que nous observons aujourd'hui sur le terrain afin qu'ensemble nous puissions avoir plus de notions, plus de connaissances dans ce sens afin d'accompagner nos braves producteurs au mieux améliorer leurs revenus. Merci, prof Massaoui.
Thank you, Joseph. Although I didn't hear what you were saying, but thank you very much. I know you are making.
Tu as allumé sa caméra?
Hello?
C'est pas encore ouvert.
Hello?
Oui, professeur. Nous vous recevons.
You want me to start making the presentation?
Yes, Prof, you may go ahead and start your presentation. We can see you.
Okay. Can you see my presentation?
Hello? Yes. Sinon, je pense que, prof, vous pouvez démarrer, mais en attendant, il faut déjà que nous situions un peu le contexte pour vous permettre d'avancer avec votre présentation. Déjà, il faut signaler qu'aujourd'hui, la plupart des plantations sont installées avec des densités un peu élevées, des densités qui ne respectent pas les normes. Et les plantations à forte densité comme ça produisent peu parce que très peu exposées à la lumière, les parties les feuilles sont touffues, ça ne permet pas une bonne pénétration de la lumière. Et donc, pour remédier à cela, les producteurs sont dans l'obligation de mieux gérer le
continue?
Vous me recevez? Est-ce que vous m'entendez?
Allô?
Oui, on vous entend.
Voilà, donc je disais tantôt que avant de permettre aux profs, nous allons ramener le contexte. Comme ça nous permet déjà de le relancer pour qu'il puisse commencer avec sa présentation. Et là, je disais tantôt que les arbres d'anacardier du par le passé étaient installés avec des densités qui ne respectaient pas les normes. Et donc, les producteurs sont dans l'obligation de gérer ces arbres en faisant des éclaircies ou bien des élagages. Et donc, dans la gestion de ces arbres, il faut dire que les élagages sont vraiment observés au niveau de ces producteurs pour pouvoir réduire les branches mortes, les branches encombrantes, et puis toutes les plantes qui sont en train de goûter par exemple le sol. C'est là pour favoriser l'aération et donc donner une bonne reprise à ces arbres. Il est donc remarqué que les coupes se font de façon drastique au niveau de ces vergers et ce qui entraîne des manques à gagner de la part de ces producteurs. Donc, pour la présente session-là, nous allons essayer de rester en compagnie du prof Massawe qui va mieux approfondir ces connaissances-là afin de partager avec nous ses expériences en la matière, je veux dire la gestion des arbres d'anacardier, pour permettre à nos braves producteurs de mieux profiter de leurs efforts. Donc, c'est quelques minutes que nous allons prendre. Nous allons passer ce temps-là avec le prof afin d'approfondir nos connaissances dans ce sens. Et donc, je vais laisser maintenant la place au prof, au professeur Massawe, pour qu'il puisse déjà faire passer sa communication, pour qu'il puisse nous dire ce qu'il a à partager avec nous. Et après quoi, nous allons passer aux questions-réponses et puis aussi de l'auditoire. Les questions vont venir pour pouvoir finir ce forum par une conclusion. Donc, merci. Si le prof Massawe est en place, il pourra donc maintenant se préparer afin de prendre la parole. Prof Massawe, are you ready?
Yes, good morning, everyone. How are you today?
Yeah, fine.
I'm going to make my presentation on expanded insight to the. This has become so important if the farmers fields, particularly when formative pruning for new plantings. Just to start with, cashew tree is a perennial tree crop which is evergreen throughout the year, and that makes it one of the most important trees because it does a lot in mitigation of the climate change, particularly on the aspect of carbon sequestration. Generally, a mature cashew tree has four growth stages, and this is flushing, which means the breaking of the dormancy or the beginning of opening of the young, we have fruiting, and finally we have again a state of dormancy. Requires proper management in order to increase production. I'm repeating again, cashew requires proper management in order to increase production. However, good agricultural practices in cashew as a tree differs quite a lot from other trees, in particular when we are doing stamping or top working in terms of the timing, when we are doing thinning, when we are doing pruning, and also when we are doing training. Training means inhibit or control the tree growth. The good agricultural practices in cashew will involve the tree management, which means the top working, pruning, and training. However, also, we have to consider the farm management operations, which intercropping and
Prof, on ne vous reçoit pas, prof.
Oui.
La ligne est mauvaise.
Usually, trade management takes place during the day. In majority of the countries, it's basically the best way to know the timing. The meaning of this time is when the trade. Yes. You know, I can't speak French, eh? Hello?
Go ahead, prof.
Do you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, Joseph.
Yes, can hear
Trade
you.
management.
You can.
Yeah, trade management need to take place during the state of dormancy. And usually it takes about 2 months after harvesting. The main objective of the good agricultural practices in cashew is to increase the yield, increase the quality, and also ease the relative yield. Practices in cashew include, among others, weeding, intercropping, and for East Africa, control of disease and insect pests, which is not very common in West Africa. Pruning and grafted seedlings, and we consider harvest and post-harvest handling. Pruning different types of cashew trees depends on the source of the material, particularly the seedlings. As we are all aware, trees normally tend to grow laterally and not upwards. So this means we need to be more careful to avoid yield loss by training the branches to grow upwards or lifting the branches to grow upwards, because grafted seedlings will produce in the first year, and all of them will produce in the second year. So there is a lot of management required for training or pruning a grafted cashew seedling. Regarding seedlings which have been raised, Hello? Which connection, which internet are you using? I use my internet. Okay. Yeah. So let's connect to you. Oh, this one is West. It's West? Can you internet with the So
Yes, prof, we can hear you.
We can hear me?
Yes, you can continue. Hello, prof. Hello, prof. On a perdu le professeur, on ne le reçoit plus. Hello, prof, on ne vous reçoit plus.
I think he has mistakenly muted himself.
Yes, c'est vrai. Je vais l'appeler.
Hello?
Yes. I think now you can hear us.
Then,
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay, and the video, is it fine?
Oui,
Is the video
on voit
fine
aussi la
with you?
vidéo. Mais l'écran n'est pas partagé d'abord.
D'accord. Oui. Est-ce que vous voyez l'écran?
Yes, it's
Vous
okay
voyez
now.
l'écran?
so, shall I repeat again or I'll proceed where I am?
On a perdu un peu le fil. Il y a un bout de temps. Si c'est nécessaire, on pourra recommencer, mais aller un peu plus vite pour les parties qui étaient faites. Comme ça.
Joseph, I agree with you. So we'll try and restart the session. And what we'll do here is we will project the presentation from our end. So Prof, if you can hear me, don't worry about presenting anymore. We will project it for you from our end. So you can take down your presentation and let us project it for you. So all we need you to do is to, unmute yourself and speak. If you think, that your video will not work because of the internet instability, we don't mind you turning off the video, but just have your microphone on and we'll project the presentation for you from here. Is that okay?
Okay, all right, c'est bon.
Yeah, that's the presentation from your side.
Okay, so we project the presentation from our end. Prof, please stop projecting, and then we just need you to unmute yourself. You can turn off your video, unmute yourself. Then when it's time for Q&A, then you can now turn on your video. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry, we truly apologize for the internet instability. We are starting all over again, just so you don't miss on any of the information that was previously shared. And like I mentioned, to access interpretation service, just click on the globe icon on your screen, select a preferred language, and then mute the original sound. Prof, if you are ready, we are ready. Thank you.
Okay, shall I start?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Cashew tree is a perennial tree crop. It's evergreen throughout the year, and it is very good in the mitigation of climate change, particularly in carbon sequestration. Mature cashew tree has 4 stages of growth. The first one is flushing, which is the breaking of dormancy. The second one is flowering, followed by fruiting, and finally it goes again into a state of dormancy. Cashew tree requires proper management in order to increase yield. As for cashew, good agricultural practices differs quite a lot from other tree crops, particularly when you are considering aspects of stamping or top working, and the top working may differ from other trees in terms of the timing. Thinning also, pruning, and the training, they differ quite a lot from other tree crops. Next. Good agricultural practices in cashew, it involves the tree management, which means top working, pruning, and training. On the other hand, it also involves farm management operations like intercropping and weeding in order to cut down costs. Tree management normally takes place at the stage of tree dormancy, which normally takes place for 2 months, and this begins immediately after harvesting. So immediately after harvesting, within 2 months, the pruning and other aspects must take place at that time. Do not do any pruning when the flush starts. So the main objective of the good agricultural practice in cashew is to increase the yield for the cashew trees. Secondly, is to increase the nut quality and also to have easy access to nut picking. On overall, gap in cashew includes, among others, weeding, intercropping, control of diseases and insect pests in East Africa, which is not very common in West Africa, pruning and training, and this is categorized into two: pruning and training of the grafted seedling, pruning and the training of trees raised by normal seeds, polyclonal seed or clonal seeds. Also, it involves harvesting and post-harvest handling. Next, please. Pruning different types of cashew trees depends on the source of the seedling. There are two major sources of the seedling, which is vegetatively propagated and seedlings raised from seed. So the most common vegetative propagation method is grafted seedlings. Grafted seedlings, they have a tendency of their branches growing laterally because they already have flowering hormones. So they don't have hormones which encourages vegetative growth. So we need to be more careful when dealing with grafted seedlings in order to ensure that we will not destroy the yields. Which means for grafted seedling, we need to train the branches to grow upwards. Sometimes we might be forced to lift the branches to grow upwards. Why? Because grafted seedlings will produce in the first year, and certainly all of them will produce in the second year. As for trees raised by non-grafted seedlings, which means polygonal seed, or clonal seed, or even farmers' own seed, these kind of seedlings, when it grows into the farm, the branches grow upwards naturally. This is because they are growing vegetatively and not growing reproductively. So it needs less care. However, non-grafted seedlings will start producing in the third or the fourth year. Next. Pruning. There are three different types of pruning in cashew. One is formative pruning of young cashew trees. And formative pruning is done the second and the third year after transplanting. And this involves removal of branches which are touching the ground to approximately 50 centimeters. And to make it easier for the farmers, we use any height as an average of 50 centimeters from the ground. Secondly, we have light pruning of mature place annually. After every harvesting season, light pruning is necessary. And this involves removal of branches touching the ground to allow harvesting to take place, or it might involve removal of the branches to allow a tractor operation if for large-scale farms. The third one is heavy pruning of mature cashew trees. This usually takes place once in every 3 to 5 years, depending on the soil types, depending on the rainfall, and also depending on the location. And this one, it involves removal of big branches which are obstructing nut picking or obstructing tractor operation in large-scale farms. Next. Now, let us come to the right subject, pruning. It should be known that any type or form of pruning cashew branches is reduction in yield, because it involves removal of the productive area of the canopy. Pruned branches is almost dollars dropping. As you can see below, the 6 months old on the left-hand side, the 6 months old grafted seedling has already started producing. And if you remove all those branches, even in the year 1 and the year 2, you are already losing your crop. When you look on the right-hand side, on the top, there is a tree which has been properly pruned, and below, there is a tree which has been over-pruned. And this is almost the case to most farms. Next. Now, why do we do pruning if pruning is loss in yield? We do pruning for various reasons. It differs from large-scale farmers and small-scale farmers. For large-scale farmers, we normally prune to allow machinery operation to take place in order to minimize farm operational costs. Because for large-scale farms, if we do manual weeding, sometimes labor is a serious problem. So we prune, lose a little bit of yield, but save money that would have been used for the cashew laborers, which is quite a lot of money. So it means for large-scale farmers, we prune to allow tractor to plow the farm. We allow tractor to pass for disease and the pest control. And also, for large-scale farms, the transportation of the harvested nuts from different locations. For small-scale farmers, we will normally prune in order to allow nuts to be collected underneath the tree canopy. I'm repeating again. For small-scale farmers, we prune in order to allow nuts to be collected underneath the cashew tree canopy. Secondly, we also prune, in the case of West Africa, for example, to control the theft of the nuts. You do a pruning in such a way that at night, using a torch, you will be able to see if somebody is trespassing into the farm. If you don't do it, for example, in Tanzania, you will find that the people will be harvesting your nuts at night. So you lose a little bit of the nuts by doing a modest pruning in order to save from the nuts which can be collected by the thieves and not otherwise. Also, for a small-scale farmer, they do pruning in order to allow intercropping. Next. Pruning in order to allow tractor operation in large farms is as displayed. As you can see on both sides of the photo, a tractor has been plowing between the lines in the cashew research farms in Nachingwea in Tanzania. But look at the canopy or the trees. They are not destroyed. They are still maintaining the umbrella shape. So we pruned to allow just a tractor to be able to pass underneath. And if there is any big branch that will block the tractor, that one will be removed during heavy pruning. So you prune to lose some of the crop at the same time you prune to gain to have some economical benefits from the farm management operations. Next, please. Now let us consider what I mentioned previously about the formative pruning to give the canopy or the young developing cashew trees an umbrella shape. As I mentioned, grafted seedlings, they have flowering hormones. So they do not normally grow vegetatively. They normally grow reproductively, which means most of their branches, they grow laterally. And if you don't train or prune them, they will be touching the ground. And when they grow bigger, then even at the proper spacing, you will find that you may need to control the overlap of the canopies. So to avoid the future quick overlap of the canopies, we do normally formative pruning in order to make sure that the young growing tree, which is grafted, has an umbrella shape, and all of them are pointing up. Next. Training of the cashew tree canopy is one of the good agricultural practices I mentioned, but this has not really been taking place quite a lot in cashew. The photos you see there is training of the tree canopy. This one, they are more than 10 years old, the left and the inside, but it's a high density cultivation of a scion orchard in order to provide more science per unit area. But in some literature, you will find that some people are talking about high density cultivation by managing the cashew tree canopy not to grow big. As it can be seen on the right hand side, if you do not remove the science, they will all fruit. And basically, this kind of a technology of high density cultivation through management of the cashew tree canopy cannot be applicable in Africa for only one reason. It is labor intensive. And African farmers, there are so many things to do rather than attending cashew itself. Next. Now, it should be noted that a young cashew tree up to the age of 10 years, they produce on the entire canopy. On the top, at the middle, and then below. They all produce. You will have nuts everywhere. But cashew trees at 15 years of age and above, it does not produce on the top. It does not produce on the top. It only produces on the lower branches, which in most cases, some of us will remove them. So why it does not produce on the top at all the age is a very long scientific debate, but basically all the cashew trees never produce at the top and very little at the middle, but in most cases on the lower branches. Next. I'm showing some typical example of the photos I just took last month when I had a team of researchers from National Agricultural Research Institute of Benin. They visited Tanzania, and this is what they saw in the farmers' field. Tanzanian farmers in the main cashew growing areas, instead of pruning the trees, they normally use a stake to lift the branches because the production is mostly found on the branches. When you look on the top, all that layer, it was showing exactly how trees were producing. And on the top, there was nothing like a fruit setting, which means where these three gentlemen or two gentlemen are standing, if you removed all those branches by pruning in order to have a canopy-shaped tree, you would have lost probably 50% of that tree yield, which was estimated to be around 50 kilograms per tree per year. Below is another tree on the left-hand side. You could see me standing near the tree itself. Half of that tree on the top, it produced nothing. But where I'm standing, the farmers addressed the branches, and there was a lot of crop. On the right-hand side, I was making a close zoom for you to see how the stakings have been taking place. Because from outside, maybe it was not easy to see. But actually, on the right-hand side, you can see how farmers, they were doing that kind of raising of the branches instead of pruning them. Because they know if they prune, it is a loss in yield. Next. I just wanted to share with you when I was doing my field visit somewhere in Latitengu in Benin. I found a very interesting tree, and I was discussing with the farmer. And the farmer was telling me they wanted to remove all the branches in order the tree to, for him, he was talking about the tree to have air circulation and things of that sort. But after the training, you can see on the right-hand side, this is what I did, and I showed him that this is how the pruning should be done. If you remove more of those branches, it means you are removing the productive area of the tree canopy, which eventually will lead into low yield. So from this kind of pruning, I advise the farmer to lift some of those branches up so that when they start fruiting, they will not touch the ground. Next. Yes, I'm giving you a typical scenario of what I've gone through. On the top side, I'm showing 3 years old grafted seedling. On the top, they've been properly pruned. Below, there are trees of the same age. And to be very sincere, they are from my own farm. When I was working in Zambia, I requested the director of the research station to provide me with the technicians to go and do formative pruning. And this is what they did. Inside is the director of the station. I invited him to see the kind of damage which was done in my own farm. So when I'm talking to you about proper pruning, it's because I have not only the scientific experience, but also as a farmer, it has already affected me a lot. And the trees below there, which were supposed to start producing like the ones at the top, it has taken them 4 years, not actually to recover the whole canopy, just 4 years to start giving me a reasonable crop. So please do not destroy your tree canopies on young cashew trees. Next. I wanted to share with you also cashew trees which has been taken in good formative pruning at the age of 5 years in my own farm. So I had the experience of both good formative pruning and bad formative pruning. At this age of 5 years, this kind of trees can produce between 8 and 10 years, depending on the weather condition. Next. I'm also sharing with you well-pruned trees at the age of 10 and the age above 25. As it can be seen, they are all from my farm. We did a formative pruning, and every year we do very, very light pruning, and we only prune the branches that are touching the ground. So the tree remains with its canopy, and we only prune to allow nut collection or cleaning of the farm as it can be seen. The right-hand side is a tree which is about, I think, 20 years. But you could see, because it was grafted, it's not very tall. This is one of the hybrids which were crossed, one of my best varieties. But you could see that the tree trunk is very small. I didn't prune all on the trunk above 50 centimeters. All the branches almost up the shoulder. And this is a serious loss in yield. This kind of pruning, I can describe it as destructive pruning, but it was done with an intention of improving yield. But in practice, this is not the reality. And as you can see below, it is an estate also, but also the pruning has been almost more than 1 meter from the ground, which is not very good. Next. Again, I have noted with a very serious concern when pruning is done. It must be done in such a way it will allow proper healing to take place. When you look at all those cut branches, they were not cut close to the trunk. And once they protrude, you will find that the healing becomes difficult, as it can be seen on the right-hand side. Actually, this kind of branch cutting, it attracts stem borers, where incidences of stem borers is very high. You cut like this one, really, you end up the entire tree. Next, please, to the tree which has been properly cut. So when we are cutting branches during heavy pruning or during rehabilitation, when we are trying to ensure that the tree canopy is not overlapped, then we have to cut some of the branches. Then the cutting must be close to the trunk, as it has been shown there. And on the right-hand side, it is showing how quick the healing normally takes place. Within 2 years, you will find that it has covered the wood completely, and the tree continues growing normally. Next, please. Next. Now, in conclusion, pruning is a very important, good agricultural practice in cashew, but it must be done with maximum care. Please conduct pruning if and only if it is necessary to allow one, nut collection, intercropping, tractor operations in the farm, which means plowing, disease control, fertilization, and transportation of the nut. Last but not least, high-density cultivation of cashew in Africa is only good for silent orchards and is not yet time for doing it for large-scale or medium-scale plantation because it is labor-intensive and African farmers, they have no time really to concentrate only on cashew because they have other issues also to do with their food security. Well, thank you very much for listening. I am ready for your questions, if you have any. I'm sure you have a lot of questions, and I'm waiting for them.
Merci, professeur. Merci pour ce travail qui est bien présenté. Merci encore pour la communication. Je rappelle que le professeur Massaoué est un chercheur principal de recherche agricole. Il a la retraite. Il est également sélectionneur de noix de cajou et spécialiste de la chaîne de valeur de la noix de cajou. Il a plus de 35 ans d'expérience et puis dans la filière anacarde. Professeur Massaoué est également l'un des principaux sélectionneurs de noix de cajou et il a déjà contribué à la mise en place de près de 54 nouvelles variétés hybrides. Et puis, il a été conseiller technique pour des projets de noix de cajou en Mozambique, au Ghana et en Zambie. Et il a été également le directeur adjoint des affaires académiques de Stella Maris de l'Université en Tanzanie. En janvier 2022, il rejoint TechnoServe en tant que directeur de production. Il est vraiment auteur de plus de 66 articles, dont 14 au niveau de la noix de cajou. Une fois encore, merci professeur pour ces expériences que vous venez de partager avec nous. Et à présent, nous allons poursuivre avec la session. Et là, je rappelle encore que cette session fait suite à la conférence ACA tenue à Abuja, donc pour pouvoir continuer des échanges sur la gestion des arbres d'anacardier. Mais avant de laisser la parole aux participants pour des questions, également on a déjà reçu quelques questions au niveau du chat. Également, je rappelle, s'il y a des questions comme ça, les partisans peuvent déjà les laisser au niveau du chat. Et au besoin, il y aura quand même des prises de parole. Et là, pour pouvoir prendre la parole, on pourra lever la main avant de pouvoir participer. Merci encore pour la suite. Alors, professeur, j'ai juste quelques questions pour vous suite à cette brillante présentation. Et là, j'ai noté que vous avez dit que l'élagage est une réduction de rendement de l'arbre, c'est-à-dire que l'élagage égale la perte d'argent. Et là, je me demande si vous pouvez, si cela est à relativiser. Est-ce que c'est à long, à moyen terme, ou bien toutes les fois qu'on fait des élagages, on fait des pertes d'argent? Sinon, ou bien je dirais, est-ce que si tel est le cas, il est toujours nécessaire de conseiller aux producteurs de faire cette opération? Donc ça, c'est la première question. Et la seconde question, la deuxième question, je vais dire, que pensez-vous de ces auteurs qui soutiennent, parce que dans beaucoup de littérature, on a lu que les élagages et les éclaircies permettent d'améliorer le rendement quantitatif et même qualitatif des plantations de cajou. Maintenant, en vous écoutant, est-ce que vous pensez qu'effectivement vous êtes en accord avec ces auteurs qui pensent que toutes les fois qu'on fait ces activités, on améliore aussi bien quantitatif que qualitatif le rendement? La troisième question, j'espère que vous notez. Voilà, la troisième question, que pensez-vous de la gestion des arbres de cajou et les changements climatiques? Je veux dire, avec l'observation des variations climatiques, ce qu'on observe dans le monde aujourd'hui, avec ce que nous observons en termes de variations climatiques aujourd'hui, est-ce que nous devons revoir nos pratiques ou bien qu'est-ce que vous conseillez dans ce sens pour qu'on puisse, mettre ensemble cette question du changement climatique et la gestion des plantations d'anacarde? j'ai aussi noté qu'au cours de votre présentation, on pourra faire des tuteurs, c'est-à-dire soutenir les arbres au lieu de couper les branches, on peut les soutenir avec les tuteurs comme ça ou les palissades. Je veux savoir, je veux demander, professeur, si on peut faire cette activité sur une grande superficie. Est-ce que, compte tenu de les personnes, on connaît des producteurs qui ont plus de 20 hectares, est-ce qu'ils peuvent faire cela sur une étendue aussi grande? Et enfin, vous avez monté quelques photos vers la fin pour dire que les arbres sont drastiquement coupés avec des maladies qui semblent être présentes. Professeur, je voulais aussi savoir si il y a une approche selon vos expériences, si on peut trouver une approche pour pouvoir restaurer les canopées de ces arbres-là qui sont drastiquement atteints aujourd'hui. Est-ce qu'il y a une action, est-ce qu'on peut faire quelque chose pour récupérer ces arbres afin de retrouver leur production? Voilà, merci professeur. Voilà quelques questions que j'ai pu ressortir lors de votre présentation. Donc, nous allons peut-être recevoir s'il y a des réponses pour ces quelques questions, et après quoi, nous allons laisser la place aux participants afin qu'ils puissent aussi poser des questions. Et aussi, s'il y a des questions au niveau du chat, je trouve qu'il y a des questions au niveau du chat, donc on pourra aussi les poser rapidement. Professeur, voilà les quelques questions.
Okay, thank you very much for your very important questions. It should be noted that annual pruning is necessary at the end of every harvesting season. The problem is to what extent that the branches are pruned. That is the question that needs to be answered. It should be known cashew is a sun-loving tree. It does not produce where branches touch one another or where it is shaded by another tree. Cashew produces the entire canopy, as I mentioned, when it is young, up to the age of 10 years. But as I insisted, it does not produce on top of the branches when the tree is 15 years old and above. It only produces at the periphery, the lower branches. So the more branches you cut, the less the yield you get. Now, as I mentioned, why do we do pruning? We do pruning in order to allow nut collection to take place underneath the cashew tree. You said also that for bush trees, at what height from the ground would you recommend to cut the branches? I am not really recommending anyone to cut cashew branches. You will only need to cut them if they obstruct harvesting or if they obstruct tractor movement in the farm. If not, there is no need really to remove the branches. You also thought about others that what I think about those others are pruning and thinning improve yield. As I mentioned, branches that produce yield are the lower branches. And once you remove them, you are removing the area under production. So what I can say for those authors is that no data, no right to speak. If somebody thinks that pruning can increase yield, let the person come up with data. Otherwise, those are just mere ways of discussion. Because if you remove the tree with an intention of improving production, that's ridiculous. Maybe one would have said we prune in order to allow mechanical operations to take place. That one, I will entirely agree with it. Regarding the component of cashew tree management and climate change, as I mentioned, cashew tree is evergreen throughout the year, and it is very good for climate mitigation, which means being green throughout the year, it undertakes carbon sequestration throughout the year. And the carbon sequestration takes place on the tree canopies. So when you overprune, certainly you are making the carbon sequestration to be lower. So to me, I still think that we do a modest pruning to allow the things I mentioned for economic reasons, for operational reasons, and leave the tree canopy to continue growing as it is for good climate mitigation. Now, regarding the trees which were already overpruned, like the ones I showed you in my farm, it has taken 4 years. They have never come back into the full production. So, for those old trees which have been overpruned, what we need to do is to stop pruning and allow the canopy to develop. After 4 to 10 years, the tree will acquire its original canopy. One thing which we have to understand is there is a relationship between the amount of root system and the canopy development. When you reduce the canopy following overpruning, certainly some of the root system disappears also.
Okay. Vous parlez? On ne vous reçoit plus.
Hello?
Oui, on vous reçoit.
Yes. Shall I repeat again the last 2 questions? He was talking about the relationship between cashew tree management and climate change. I said cashew is evergreen throughout the year, and that is what makes it to be a very good tree crop for climate mitigation. Now, when you overprune the cashew trees, it means you are reducing the area which undertakes carbon sequestration. So prune for the reasons I mentioned before, and not to do overpruning. The last question was about what will happen to the trees which were already overpruned. The case is also the same in my farm. I left the trees untouched. At least now is 4 years. They have not recovered the canopy fully, but at least at the 4th year, I could start getting some yield from the overpruned trees. It means for the past 3 years, I've been losing the crop. So I start getting it after the 4th year. So overprune the trees, leave them as they are without any further extraction for the tree to recover its canopy. Please be informed, overpruning also, there is a relationship between root system and the canopy size. When you reduce the canopy or already existing tree, some root system in the soils also, they are reduced. They die naturally. So, but once you leave it for some years, 4 years above, then the canopy will resume to its normal. And we should avoid now undertaking the same mistakes once this message is clearly known.
OK. Merci, professeur. Merci pour ces questions, pour ces réponses, j'avais dit, déjà, je veux revenir un peu sur le tuteur. Est-ce que vous avez expérimenté le tutorage sur une grande superficie? Est-ce que c'est vraiment aisé? Est-ce que vous avez une expérience dans ce domaine de tutorage, compte tenu des superficies que nous avons dans l'Afrique de l'Ouest où les gens ont beaucoup de surface, beaucoup d'arbres? Est-ce que c'est aussi aisé ou bien quelle expérience vous avez dans ce cas?
Yes, surely, regarding the stakings, is that for large-scale farms, there's no way you can undertake staking. There's no way, and apparently unnecessary. For large-scale farms, like the farms I showed there for the National Agricultural Research Institute, they do not practice staking because you have to consider two aspects. If you do staking, it means tractor operation will be obstructed. And the cost of maintaining 600 hectares under cashew research is very high compared to what you lose when you remove some of the branches to allow the tractor to pass through. So large-scale plantations, pruning is important annually to ensure that mechanical operations can take place in the farm. I hope you understood my answer.
Oui, oui, très bien compris. Merci encore pour cette réponse. Nous allons à présent passer aux quelques questions des participants, et les questions qu'on retrouve au niveau du chat. Et là, la première question, il y a un participant, je crois, du nom de Théodore, qui voulait quand même savoir la différence entre le rendement des plants greffés et les plants non greffés. Il y a une différence de rendement.
Yes, sure. There is a very big difference in yield. It should be noted that a grafted seedling starts producing in the first year of production. Non-grafted seedlings, when planted in the field, they will start producing on the third or the fourth year. But grafted seedling, it means you know the quality of the clone you have grafted, which is automatically very high yield. But for non-grafted, it all depends. If they are coming from polygonal or clonal seeds, they are also high yielding. But in the first 5 years, surely the grafted seedlings will produce more than ungrafted seedlings. But 8 to 10 years, the difference will disappear.
OK. Merci encore. Une autre question, professeur. Monsieur Daniel a noté que vous avez dit qu'il y a moins de problèmes de ravageurs, de maladies en Afrique. Mais lui, il trouve qu'ils en ont au Nigeria, notamment les problèmes de forêt de tige, voilà, les problèmes de forêt de tige. Il dit, selon votre expérience, quelle est la meilleure approche de gestion ou bien de lutte contre ce ravageur? Professeur. Vous m'avez écouté? Professeur, je répète, je redis un peu la question de M. Daniel. Il dit que dans votre présentation, vous avez dit qu'il y a moins de problèmes en matière de ravageurs, de maladies en Afrique. Mais lui, il note qu'il y a des problèmes de maladies.
I was disconnected.
OK.
Please.
OK.
Can you repeat again the network?
OK. Yes. la question de Daniel.
Can
Monsieur
you
Daniel, il
repeat
dit
again?
que, yes.
Yes.
Il dit que dans la présentation du professeur, il a noté qu'il a dit qu'il y a moins de problèmes de maladies ou bien d'insectes en Afrique. Mais que lui, au Nigeria, ils ont ces problèmes, notamment les problèmes de forêt de tiges. Qu'est-ce qu'il pense, qu'est-ce que le prof pense en matière de gestion, en matière de contrôle de ces maladies selon son expérience? Voilà, c'était ça la question, professeur.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, we should separate between diseases and insect pests. In West Africa, the entire West Africa, Benin, Nigeria, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Guinea-Bissau, I visited all those areas. There is no any cashew disease of economic importance. Although people keep on saying diseases and pests, but actually there is no diseases of economic importance. In East Africa, if you don't control powdery mildew disease, if you don't control blight, you lose 80 to 90% of the crop, which is not the case. So cost of production in East Africa is very high compared to West Africa. You do not use fungicide here in order to increase yield and the quality of the nuts. In East Africa, you must use fungicide to control the disease in order to improve yield and the nut quality. But on the other hand, pests we see in East Africa, also in West Africa, which includes Pseudothraptus cyi. Some of them, they call them aeroplane bugs, the T mosquito, the Helopeltis bugs, and the one you mentioned, stem borers. There are different types of stem borers. There are some of them giddlers, some of them the borer, but they are all in East and West Africa. But pests in West Africa, they contribute very little in increasing or in decreasing yield. But be informed, stem borers are sometimes severe when farm management operations are not done properly. If you get a chance and visit farmers in Tanzania, they clean the farm to remove completely all the weeds and all cashew leaves that have fallen in every year. They remove everything and the land remains almost bare. One would think maybe there will be something like erosion because of that one, but in reality, there's nothing like that. But they do it for two reasons. One is to avoid fire. Secondly, is to avoid the stem borers. So many stem borers are physical. You cannot use any insecticide to control the stem borers. Whenever you see the symptoms of the stem borers, you need to use a machete to open the place and remove the larva which is inside. And once it drops on the ground, it will die naturally, or you'll find that there are some other insects which will kill. Otherwise, there's no really recommended measure to control the stem borers using chemicals. However, the other sucking pests like aeroplane bugs, some of them they call them coconut bugs. It is commonly known as aeroplane bugs in West Africa. That one can be controlled naturally by using natural predators, Ocophila longinoda. This has been very effective as an organic way, it's a natural way of controlling the pests. But sucking pests like helopeltis bugs controlled using insecticides. If it doesn't reach the economic situation, there's no point of doing it. But normally, when you look at the most farmers here, you find that I have never seen really a severe farm which has been affected by the sucking pest the way it normally happens in East Africa. But I'm not saying we should not control. Avoid, please, using intercrops which share the same pests with the cashew, because it might be the source of multiplication of the pests. I hope I was clear about it. Hello. Are you there?
Prof, we heard you clearly. Joseph, please, are you back on?
Yes. Oui.
Hello, Joseph?
Yes, blessing. I can hear you.
Okay, please continue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I responded to the question. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, oui, il a répondu à pratiquement toutes les questions. Merci encore. Prof, Mr. Martins said that in your presentation, you focus more on production efficiency in regard to regenerative occult management and border sustainability outcome. What is your perspective on the current state of regenerative agricultural practice in Africa cashew farm?
Repeat again, please. It was cutting. It was breaking. I didn't get the question. Can you repeat the question again?
Yes. He need to know what regenerative practice needs to be promised currently in our Africa condition.
Regenerative? Or we are talking about the rehabilitation?
Il a utilisé régénération, mais là, je pense que c'est réhabilitation, élagage, je vais peut-être dire. Sinon, il voulait quand même savoir ce que nous, le prof conseille ou bien ce qu'on conseille actuellement après ces séances-là pour pouvoir retenir. Je pense que ça faisait partie des premières questions que j'ai posées au prof. Et donc, sinon, c'est parce que lui-même a utilisé le mot régénérer que je me demandais si le prof avait mieux compris. Je pense que c'est dans le sens de élagage éclairci. Et là, le prof a quand même souhaité qu'on fasse moins de coupes et puis qu'on laisse quand même les arbres bien se développer.
I think, you know, some of the small plantations by smallholder farmers in West Africa, they were planted in improper spacing. And at the earlier stages of growth, the farmers were getting yield properly. But when they started overlapping, the farmer is getting less because wherever the canopy touches one another, it does not produce any yield. For such farms, we advocating what we call rehabilitation. And rehabilitation is a process of bringing unproductive farm into production. And this one involves thinning of the trees to allow the canopy not to touch one another. It also involves gap filling where thinning was severely done and there was too much space left behind. Also, involve intercropping in order for the farmer to take care of the food security. And it is this aspect of rehabilitation I was talking about. How do we cut the big branches of the cashew in order to heal it properly? I was actually citing the rehabilitation point of view rather than the trees which are properly spaced. One thing which I want all of you to understand is there is a tendency of most development projects saying the spacing of cashew trees is 10 meters by 10 meters. My brother, let me tell you the truth. If you want to know the proper spacing of the cashew tree, do not listen to what people are saying. Go into the farmer's field, measure the canopy of the trees in that particular area, and take the average. You will realize that a spacing of 10 meters by 10 meters between and within rows, it depends on rainfall pattern, soil types. Where rainfalls are above 1,300 millimeters, I am telling you spacing of 10 by 10 is not adequate. You must be forced to go for a spacing of 12 by 12. Thank you.
Merci, professeur. Je pense la dernière question, est-ce qu'on recommanderait aux producteurs, ceux qui s'intéressent beaucoup plus à la production des greffons, est-ce qu'on leur recommanderait un type d'élagage ou quelle est la bonne approche pour les gens qui gèrent les gémoplasmes?
Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, for those who are owning nurseries, the nursery operators should plant the improved planting material close to their nurseries, and the spacing can be 1.5 meters by 2 meters, which means high density cultivation. And you stop the tree growth at the height of 1 meter. You cut it completely. Then anything sprouting above 1 meter will already be scions which are ready for grafting. And this is exactly what I showed in one of the slides when I said tree training. You stop the growth of the tree. Since it is already a grafted one, it has flowering hormones. And the moment you cut, the science will be ready for harvesting after every 21 days. Okay, is that clear? Hello, Joseph.
Yes, Prof. It's okay. OK, donc, merci, professeur. Et je pense que nous sommes en train de tendre vers la fin. Monsieur Yemana, Monsieur Boti, vous avez entre-temps levé la main. Est-ce que vous voulez poser votre question en direct ou bien c'est bon par la suite? S'il y a des questions en direct, on peut prendre une ou deux questions, puisque là, nous sommes déjà vers la fin pour le prof par rapport à sa communication. Est-ce que Monsieur Yemana, Monsieur Boti, vous êtes là? Je n'ai pas vu de retour concernant leur question. Et là, nous venons d'écouler pratiquement les questions. Sinon, la dernière question, c'était de savoir de façon précise quelle est la période qui est vraiment recommandée selon l'expérience du professeur pour faire ces pratiques d'élagage. La période, est-ce que c'est en saison sèche ou en saison pluvieuse que c'est plus adapté? Vous m'avez reçu?
Yeah, surely. Pruning must be done at the end of harvesting season. And this is the time when the tree is going into a state of dormancy. And normally it takes about 2 months or 2.5 months. If you do pruning at that time, that is fine. But I noted people doing pruning even 3-4 months after harvesting season comes to an end. That's not proper because you will be losing the crop for that particular season.
Okay, this is Eric. Can I go out my question?
Oui, vous pouvez poser.
Okay, so I heard during the presentation when it comes to the issue of grafting, and I think I heard something like when you do the grafting and while somebody does the direct planting as situ, maybe from the beginning, they might all still see maybe similar yields, but as they mature in ages, the grafted tree would have superseded that of the one which was not grafted. If that is true, should we usually give more education to those doing grafting? Because in Ghana, when you go towards the northern side, some of the farmers in Bole had the issue of not going to use grafted seedlings. The reason being that at the research institution, those doing the grafting are given targets for a day, and they are advised to enter into the scion bank to cut scions for the grafting. And on the way to the scion banks, there are a lot of trees still at the research institution. And so some of these people doing the grafting, still some of them do not go direct to the required scion bank, but they tend to cut scions from any of the nice trees on the road so that it reduces the distance of they walking to the far place to cut the scions, and they are able to come back to graft, and they are able to meet their target. When you ask them, their concern is that it is grafted, and as long as it is grafted, it will yield the required yield, which is maybe required. So for me, I think if you don't do more education, that yes, it is true that you can do grafting at some point where the grafted seedlings might maybe overtake the normal ones. But if you just use, say, the word grafting, everybody just go to get science everywhere at all and then graft. And at the end of the day, you have graft actually, but you are not getting the required yield. Because as of now in Bole areas, as I said, some farmers, because of this experience, there is no way you can still advise them to go for grafting, which they will. Thank you.
You are very, very correct. And you are very correct in the sense that this is a situation where we are introducing grafting while we have not prepared the ground for the nursery operators to be accountable if the farmer collects and they do not get what they were expecting. What we did in Tanzania, or what I did in Tanzania, I prepared what I call a clonal catalog. We had 22 selected varieties. We have 54 released the cashew varieties and hybrids. The farmer has the right to choose among the 54. And he comes and says, maybe I want the variety A, B, and C only. And the nursery will provide the farmer with those ones. If it is grafted, even after 1 year or 2 years, the farmer will be able to compare what is in the catalog and what it has been grafted in their own farm. So nursery operators, they should be made accountable by the state that whatever they give to the farmers, it must exactly be reflected into the clonal catalog. So what is missing in Ghana? I was there in Bole, 2006 to 2008. I was working in Ghana as a technical advisor for the Cashew Development Project. But we didn't go too far in terms of developing the clonal catalog. It's very important for the researchers now to ensure that they prepare clonal catalog, which indicates the performance of the selected varieties or selected clones, the color, the branching pattern, and everything. But at the moment, most of the development partners, they just go and say graft, graft, and graft. Sometimes they graft rubbish and give it to the farmers. Sometimes they think grafting is a method of improving yield. It's not true. Yeah. Grafting is multiplication of the planting material. You get a true to type. So if you graft a very good variety, you will continue getting a very good variety. And the other way around, if you graft a bad one, you will also get a bad one. So this is a concept of country to put a mechanism in place to control the science production. What I did in Tanzania was we developed 7 cashew nut development centers, which were owned by the research station. And those were the only sources of planting material to farmers. Until today, farmers, they are allowed to go and collect science free of charge. They pay nothing. Interestingly, when I had a meeting, when you had a study tour with the researchers in Benin, they went and see farmers now, they are multiplying the planting material for their own trees in their own farms. They are even doing the top work of improved material in their own farm after knowing the characteristics of the material. So in West Africa, what I could say is you started running too fast instead of passing through the stages which you went through in East Africa, which I mean Mozambique and Tanzania. So we need to put a control system in place. Nursery operators must have a catalog indicating that this is the performance or the materials in my science orchard. And when you get a grafted seedling from this orchard, this is the expectation in terms of yield, in terms of the canopy shape, in terms of the nut size and the fruit color, and not otherwise. There's no shortcut. These things must be done. I hope I responded to your question. Hello?
Yes,
Oui, Monsieur Eric.
Exactly.
Oh.
I'm highly satisfied. At least I can give you a
Okay.
99.9.
Perfect.
Merci, Eric. OK. Je ne sais pas si M. Yemana est là aussi pour sa question. Bon, il y avait aussi la main levée de M. Mamadou, je crois.
Oui.
Est-ce que toujours la main est levée?
Oui.
OK. Allez-y avec votre question.
Voilà. Merci beaucoup, M. Joseph. Je remercie le professeur de la présentation par rapport aux techniques de légage et pour améliorer un peu la production. Bon, moi, j'ai juste une contribution que je voulais faire par rapport à la présentation parce que nous sommes au Sénégal. Je suis dans le programme Lift Cashew de Shelter for Life. Donc, nous ici, vous savez, on a dans nos zones d'intervention des plantations qui sont très denses. Donc, les producteurs, ils n'ont pas eu la mentalité de faire des plantations qui sont linéaires. Donc, les champs sont plantés en désordre. Et par rapport à cela, pour vraiment améliorer la production, nous avons pu mettre en place ce qu'on appelle des parcelles de démonstration. Et au niveau de ces parcelles de démonstration, nous avons mis une parcelle pour moyen et une parcelle où on a fait des bonnes pratiques pour montrer aux producteurs il est important de faire l'élagage, il est important de faire l'éclaircie. Maintenant, si c'est passé de démonstration, nous avons eu un demi-hectare et il y a un quart d'hectare où les bonnes pratiques ont été appliquées et l'autre témoin où on applique les pratiques paysannes. Et à l'issue de ces résultats, nous avons obtenu une amélioration des rendements de la parcelle où on pratique les bonnes pratiques de 150% par rapport aux témoins sur l'élagage. Et ceci, nous l'avons fait, on a corrigé la densité, on a corrigé aussi l'encombrement. C'est pour vous dire que vraiment c'est très important par rapport, parce que c'est aussi des plantations qui sont âgées, qui ont plus de 10 ans, voire 15 ans d'âge. Et je voulais aussi poser la question au professeur par rapport à ça. Est-ce que le fait de dire qu'on peut faire des tuteurs par rapport aux arbres, et si vraiment on a une densité qui est forte, est-ce possible de pouvoir faire tout ce champ-là avec des tuteurs, ou bien est-ce qu'il faut recommander de faire l'éclaircie pour jouer un peu sur l'encombrement? Parce que j'ai vu dans sa présentation aussi, il a parlé que les arbres dans le quartier produisent sur les flancs, sur les côtés, donc pas en hauteur, parce qu'en hauteur, effectivement, en hauteur, on ne voit pas. Mais est-ce que, bon, je ne partage pas à 100% le fait de dire que si on élague une branche, on risque de faire baisser la pollution, parce que nous, on a déjà testé cela et on continue toujours à le faire pour le justifier aussi scientifiquement. On est en train de travailler là-dessus pour pouvoir amener des réponses scientifiques par rapport à l'élagage. Bon, maintenant, je ne sais pas, est-ce que ça ne nécessite pas encore de faire des études beaucoup plus poussées pour voir le contexte? Parce qu'il y a des producteurs qui ont des plantations linéaires, il y a d'autres qui ont des plantations en désordre, et c'est aussi en fonction de l'âge.
Ok, merci. Merci, professeur. Vous avez écouté un peu M. Mamadou par rapport à son intervention concernant les modèles femmes, les passages de démonstration et puis quelques résultats qu'ils ont obtenus en matière d'élagage, où il n'est pas à 100% d'accord. Mais qu'est-ce que vous pensez?
Well, thank you very much. I just wanted to put things very clear. Do not misunderstand when I said no pruning. A farm which is overcrowded, you need to do both thinning and also to do pruning. By so doing, actually, you increase yield. Do you know why? Because you have opened the production area of the canopy, which was not producing, now to start producing. Overcrowded farm, if you do proper thinning, you will double the production of that particular farm in just a period of 2 seasons, which means if at the end of the harvesting season, you do thinning immediately, then 2 years later, that farm will double its production. There's no doubt about that. That is actually what we are trying to do here in Benin, that we have established this year 23 demonstration plots on rehabilitation. And the main aspect of doing that one was to ensure that the farmer knows what he has been producing, and after 2 years, the farmer will be keeping the record on how the yield has been increasing. So with rehabilitation, no discussion about pruning, no discussion about thinning, because that is the proper procedure. And actually, half an acre is enough demonstration. But what we normally do is, in that half an acre, you have to invite farmers around that area so that they know what is the performance of the farm before and what will be the performance of the farm after rehabilitation has been taking place. That is the best approach. We did it in Tanzania, we did it in Mozambique, and now this is time for the West Africa to start doing rehabilitation. In Tanzania, main cashew producing areas, this is no longer an issue. It's no longer an issue of, there's nothing like trees overcrowding. Farmers, they know what to do regarding that one because we established almost 59 demonstration plots, which farmers, they copied it and they have been multiplying. But in Tanzania also, non-main cashew producing areas, we have a similar problem like the one we have in West Africa here, and demo plots remains to be the only solution. So we should not mix up pruning, training, formative pruning of new plantation with pruning and the thing of overcrowded plantation. Those are two different sites which needs different management of their sites. I hope it is clear.
Oui, enfin, c'est bien compris, bien noté. Merci pour cette réponse, pour cette clarification. À présent, Monsieur Martin, si vous êtes toujours là, vous pouvez rapidement poser votre question. Monsieur Martin.
Yes, thank you very much, Joseph. Thank you, Professor Massawi. I am Martin, and I'm coming from a sustainability circular economy background. And to make a follow-up to my earlier question regarding the regenerative practices, my concern is that you mentioned or you discuss practices which are good agricultural practices, which I can say intercept, overlap with sustainability practices. But I'm trying to get to the point whereby with increasing laws, particularly in EU and other places where many countries are moving towards circular economy policies, my concern is that for the farm management, and in the language of sustainability and circular economy, what we talk about is the regenerative practices. And so I'm trying to get your perspective, in case you have any, as to if you want to go on that tangent, because in my understanding, you sort of focus more on outcomes or on the economic performance and general efficiency of the production. But if we have to sort of look at this kind of perspective, you know, and also to align these funds with the agenda of circular economy and to, I mean, these higher consumption countries, what could be the possible concerns, you know, that the farmers need to practice or need to be encouraged? So yeah, this is my concern. So I'm just saying that what could be the priorities if we have to look at this from the angle of regenerative practices in trying to meet potential regulations from higher consuming regions. Thank you very much.
One thing which really probably I didn't catch your question very well, but it seemed like first of all, we do not normally introduce new techniques and technology to the cashew farmers directly. We don't. It's not like maize, it's not like beans, where you go and demonstrate and the farmers will follow once they see the yield. In cashew, we normally do all our demonstration plots in farmers' fields, and we normally involve the farmers themselves. I will tell you why. We might think the farmer has planted at a wider spacing, and we want to encourage the farmer to plant at a closer spacing. But we have to know why the farmer planted the cashew in a wider spacing. Well, one of the reasons is about food security. So if the issue is food security, the farmer would never accept your closer spacing because you think it's a good agronomic practices. But once you know why the farmer is doing certain practices, is from there you can learn what you can advise the farmer and make sure that if it's a demonstration plot, it should be a research, extension staff, and the farmer managed trials. These three triangles, they will be very important in understanding exactly what should be done and when and where it should be done. So research, farmer, extension, demo plots can be done in form of farmer field schools where applicable, or we can do it the other way around, depending on the cultural aspects of different countries.
OK, merci, merci professeur. Je pense qu'il y a une dernière question. Peut-être que le prof avait déjà avait donné un pas à cette question de Monsieur Don. En fait, il voulait quand même savoir quel est, en termes de séparation, en termes de distance entre les arbres de cajou, les polyclonaux installés, lorsqu'on veut faire de culture intercalaire dans la plantation et lorsqu'on ne veut pas faire. Il veut aussi savoir, quand on parle de densité, de faible densité, de densité moyenne, de haute densité, on fait allusion à quoi par rapport à la séparation, par rapport à la distance qui sépare les arbres. Voilà sa question, professeur. Je ne sais pas si vous avez quelque chose à apporter comme réponse. Vous m'avez reçu? Okay.
Yes, I get you. Actually, I think there's a lot of misuse of the word polyclonal seed. A lot of misuse. In the first place, there are only 3 countries in the world that they have polyclonal seed orchards. And everybody thinks polyclonal is just a polyclonal, is just a seed. It's not true. You can get polyclonal seed orchards in Tanzania and Mozambique, and currently Benin. They are in their second year of establishment, and the plan is to establish even much more polyclonal seed orchards. What is polyclonal seed orchard? Polyclonal seed orchard is planted using elite material or registered or selected cashew varieties. As far as cashew is concerned, there's only one country in Africa that has cashew variety, that is Tanzania. Mozambique, they have improved the planting material. They have never registered them as cashew varieties. In many countries, in Ghana, they have quite a number of improved planting material, but they have never developed them to be registered as a commercial varieties. But if we have elite material with known records of their performance, those are the materials which are selected to be included in the polyclonal seed plantation. And the polyclonal seed plantation, it has a special design, which most people don't understand, they even don't know. So it is called a systemic design or next neighbor design. Normally, it is partitioned into 4 blocks, and each block has an equal number of the same varieties planted, but in each block, the neighbor in block A will not be a neighbor in block B, neither a neighbor in block C or block D. And that's why you call it poly. Poly, it means many clones planted together in a special design, and whatever is harvested from there is called a polyclonal seed. Secondly, we have clonal seeds, which are also used as a source of planting material. Clonal seeds are obtained from orchard, which has been cloned. So the selected varieties or the elite selected mother trees, they are planted in rows. with an objective of harvesting science, but whatever that is generated from there is called clonal seed. It can also be used as an improved planting material. So we have to be very careful when we are using our ways of polyclonal or non-polyclonal or the grafted seedlings. I wanted to put that one very clear. Is it understood?
Oui,
Hello?
professeur. Je crois que en général, ça peut aller. Vous avez déjà essayé d'apporter autant de réponses pour ces différentes questions et je pense que c'est la dernière question qu'on avait dans le chat. Il n'y a plus de mains levées. Je crois que nous tendons vers la fin. Et là, une fois encore, il faut noter qu'une bonne gestion des arbres d'anacardier passe par un bon suivi de bons élagages pour éviter que les plants ne se chevauchent, pour empêcher l'ensoleillement, et une bonne gestion passe par effectivement cet entretien correct, ce suivi régulier afin de permettre aux arbres de mieux profiter des éléments nutritifs, de la ration et tout. Merci encore, professeur, pour ce temps qu'il a accordé pour cette présentation, cette excellente présentation qui nous a permis encore d'avoir une connaissance approfondie sur la gestion des arbres d'anacardier. Mais avant de finir, nous allons quand même demander au professeur par rapport à ces différentes interventions, par rapport à toutes ces interactions que nous avons eues de la part des participants, qu'est-ce qu'ils voudraient dire aux participants pour l'entretien des VG d'anacarde comme mot de fin, comme mot de conclusion. Merci, professeur.
Basically, I was very much impressed by the contribution of the participants. I think I'm here in Benin. I'm sharing a similar problem. That's why I am also trying to work very hard to establish the demo plots. Actually, last year we established this season, which has just gone, we established the 23. Also, we established new plantings. The main objective of having both trials in one place is we have selected 23 elite mother trees, and their performance is not yet known. Then it will be started being recorded from the polyclonal seed we have established in 2 locations in the north and in the southern part of Benin. But data will be collected from those plots, 23 plots, in the rehabilitated farm. Of course, we are involving all farmers around that place because we have pro-leader farmers who are operating with us. This year, we are planning to establish additional 20 new rehabilitation plots and 20 new plantings in other municipalities. Those will be maintained for a period of 3 years. After 3 years, I'm telling you, farmer will have a knowledge which is suitable for rehabilitation. Farmers will have a better knowledge on the management of the grafted seedlings. Good things actually goes very fast when it is done among the farmers. So what we are expecting is the moment we start seeing good results, we will be taking farmers from different places to go and interact with the owner of the demonstration plots and exchange ideas with their own local languages so that they can go and copy what has been taking place there. So I was so very happy. I'm so happy to hear from Senegal. I'm aware of the project which is taking place there. Senegal has a very, very good material. One of my selected planting materials in Tanzania originated from Senegal. They have good materials, but the problem, they have not been selected. So projects should assist Cashew research centers to be able to select elite mother trees using selection criteria. They can consult me. I have no problem to sharing knowledge with them. Thank you very much for your cooperation, and thank you very much for your good questions. Hoping next time we'll meet again for other things, not only the management of the cashew trees. Thank you.
Merci, professeur, pour ces mots de fin. Merci, nous disons merci encore à tous les participants pour cette participation qui a été très active et qui a été très intéressante, qui est très appréciée. Donc, tout le monde a participé, ce qui nous a permis d'avoir encore une vue beaucoup plus généralisée sur cette question de gestion des arbres anacardiers. Un merci spécial à M. Tanguépon qui a été debout pour avec nous pour suivre cette section. Et merci aussi à tous ces docteurs, ces professeurs, ces grandes personnalités qui ont laissé leurs activités pour prendre du temps avec nous afin de contribuer, afin de donner un peu de ce qu'ils ont comme savoir pour encore améliorer nos connaissances en la matière. Une fois encore, merci à tous et nous sommes vers la fin. Je vais à présent laisser la place à Blessing pour pouvoir faire donner les mots de clôture. Merci, Blessing.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to Professor Masawe and Dr. Tokoro for this session. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this session. You asked for it and we have heard you and delivered. We bring an end to the session on expanded insights in the management of cashew trees. We would also like to appreciate our sponsors and partners, USDA, Pro Cashew, and Benin Cashew, for making possible bring this session to you. Please do let us know areas you would want us to address, where we can bring in the likes of Professor Masawe or Dr. Tokuro to address them. Next week, we'll be coming your way with another session of the ACA Global Market Encounter, where we'll be talking about market updates and supply-demand balance now and in the future. Same time, 9 o'clock AM GMT. Please do join us. Until then, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can replay some of these learnings. You may also follow us on our social media pages to be abreast with everything that will happen from now to next week, Wednesday. Until then, stay safe and bye-bye.
Bye. Au revoir.